Chapter 245, The Dark Nature. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. If a warrior in the Earth realm wanted to reach a speed of 200 meters per second, he or she had to be a three-realm fighting genius. But there were only a few three uniquenesses geniuses in all of the 36 commanderies in the Omen Ridge. Each one of them was a big deal in the young generation, and it was rare to meet them face to face. Immediately, Jiang Yuochen held his breath and chased after the mystery genius. Following the shadow into the building, Jiang Yuochen saw that the door to the secret room was open. He was very surprised, and wondered if this person was also looking for the half-saint's sacred glyph. It would be a great loss if the half-saint's sacred glyph was taken by someone else. Jiang Yuochen didn't dare to think too much, so he simply performed the physical technique and entered the underground passage. The underground passage was very deep, dark, and cold. At the bottom of the passage was a ball of light. It was a spiritual crystal of the light nature carved into the stone wall, looked like a lamp and glowed in the void space. The 3 layers of encryptions of array outside the secret room was destroyed by this person, and the half-meter thick stone gate was pushed open, leaving a stone passage which only one person could pass through. Standing outside the stone passage, Jiang Yuochen looked inside. There, the slim man in black carrying a long sword wrapped in black cloth was looking for something on a wooden table full of elixir bottles. It looked like he was looking for certain pills. "Who's there?" The man in black moved his ears slightly. He was so sensitive that he noticed Jiang Yuochen the moment he approached the stone gate. And she was a woman in black. The woman turned around immediately and transferred all of her genuine chi. It turned into wisps of mist and flowed around her beautiful tiny body. Jiang Yuochen did not hide himself with space warps. Instead, he walked into the secret room directly and asked, "Who are you?" You avoided the arrays and broke into the Tarantula Chamber of Commerce, found the underground secret room, and destroyed the 3 layers of encryptions of array. You are indeed somebody special. The woman ignored Jiang Yuochen, turned into a black shadow and dashed toward him. A slender finger pointed right toward Jiang Yuochen's glabella from her black sleeve with the power of the light nature. Her speed showed her outstanding achievement in sword technique. Jiang Yuochen realized instantly that she was in the completion of the earth realm rather than a heaven realm. Apparently, she was also a 3-realm fighting genius, who was much stronger than young Lord of Poisonous Spider. He had only been in the final state of the Earth realm, and he had not made it into the completion yet. A 3-realm fighting genius in the completion of the Earth realm was much more terrifying than an ordinary myth of martial arts in the initial stage of the Heaven realm. Being a 3-realm fighting genius, her exercises and martial techniques must be quite outstanding. Besides, she must have an extraordinary background. The fact was that it was impossible for common families and suzerains to cultivate a 3-realm fighting genius. Even a royal family of medium-level commandery, like the Square Commandery, could not cultivate one. Because of this, Jiang Yuochen was very careful around this woman, and dared not underestimate her. In a second, her finger was right in front of Jiang Yuochen, sparkling with black lights. Her genuine chi had the power of the light nature. The light nature was very rare. It could be divided into the dark nature and the bright nature. With different natures, the genuine chi carried different characteristics. Her genuine chi was the dark nature, which had the characteristics of devouring, cold, decayed, demonic and weird. Since her genuine chi had the dark nature, she must be an outstanding warrior among the 3 uniquenesses geniuses. If she practiced the exercises of the ghost level, she might have reached the half-saint. Jiang Yuochen transferred his genuine chi to his right arm immediately, and wisps of spiritual fire came out of his palm, and covered it completely like a fire cloud. The power of every muscle, bone and skin burst out with full force. He struck. Boom! The woman's finger hit Jiang Yuochen's palm. The 2 forces of genuine chi clashed together, forming a circular genuine chi ripple. Suddenly, the whole secret room was filled with a clapping sound, and the pill bottles were all broken and fell to the ground. Even the stone walls cracked. They both stepped back at the same time. The woman felt a strong pain in her finger. She was astonished to find such a young master who was a match to her. "Are you Hu King Shan, young Lord of Poisonous Spider?" She stared coldly and sharply at this young man with a metal mask. She did not realize that Zhang Yuochen was also an intruder. Instead, she thought he was a warrior of the Tarantula Chamber of Commerce. Among the young generation in the Tarantula Chamber of Commerce, only young Lord of Poisonous Spider would have such a powerful cultivation. So naturally she would mistake Zhang Yuochen for him. Zhang Yuochen also felt a burning pain in his palm. Fortunately, he had already got the chakras, and had the 2 layers of skin growth ring on his skin, which was as strong as 2 layers of armor. Therefore, he was not hurt. The woman's cultivation was indeed very high, and she was not weaker than Zhang Yuochen. Is young Lord of Poisonous Spider the only one who could be here? Zhang Yuochen asked in reply. The woman hummed coldly and said, "Oh, then you are a thief, too. You are not superior to me. Since we are men of the same line, we shall not fight anymore. Besides, with our power, it won't be easy to determine the winner. If the people of the Tarantula Chamber of Commerce notice us, it won't do us any good." Zhang Yuochen shook his head and said, "Number. The glyph is mine." "You won't get it." "Glyph? What glyph?" asked the woman. Zhang Yuochen was suddenly relieved. He laughed and said, "Since we want different things, then we shall not fight. Let's just each take what we need." Zhang Yuochen stared into the woman's eyes. Although she hid them well, Zhang Yuochen still felt that she was somehow familiar to him. Suddenly, Zhang Yuochen remembered where he had seen her finger technique before. He asked, "Hanku?" The woman's body shook slightly, and turned around. She glanced at Zhang Yuochen coldly and asked, "Who are you?" Zhang Yuochen smiled and said, "Oh, yes. You are Hanku." Actually, Zhang Yuochen and Hanku had only met twice, so they were not familiar with each other. But Zhang Yuochen's spiritual power was so strong that he had an extraordinary retentive memory. Although Hanku only showed her 2 eyes and used her dark nature genuine chi to hide her eyesight and her voice, Zhang Yuochen could still see her with his strong spiritual power. In the young generation of the 36 commanderies in the Omen Ridge, only 2 women were on the Earth board, and Hanku was one of them. The woman measured Zhang Yuochen carefully with her eyes, and she also felt he was a little familiar. She had definitely seen him before. She did not recognize Zhang Yuochen, and her spiritual power was not as strong as Zhang Yuochen's, so she could not recognize him. "Since you have recognized me, perhaps you should tell me your name." "There are not too many masters like you in the young generation," said the woman. "I'm sorry, but I can't tell you," replied Zhang Yuochen. He knew that Hanku and Zhang Tangai were very close. Although he did not really know how close they were, one thing was for sure. She was closer to Zhang Tangai than to Zhang Yuochen. They were fellow apprentices. Now however, Zhang Tangai and Zhang Yuochen were completely different. Zhang Yuochen was sure of that when he met Hu Mingong at the King Castle. Apparently, Zhang Tangai wanted to use Hu Mingong to eliminate Zhang Yuochen. Although he had not succeeded, next time he would surely try harder. "Well, suit yourself. I can find out after I leave the black market." Hanku continued searching in the broken pieces of pill bottles. After a little while, she found a fist-sized, square, gold and purple box. She opened it, and the inside glowed in white, illuminating the whole secret room with daylight. "I found it." She was very happy, closed the box at once and put it carefully into her cloak. Standing not far away from her, Zhang Yuochen smelled a faint sense of the pill's fragrance. He asked, "How did you know that there is a Saint's Light pill here?" Hanku was surprised again and asked, "How do you know there is a Saint's Light pill in the box?" At the same time, she was nervous. After all, the Saint's Light pill was very expensive. If he was going to steal it, she had to fight. She was not worried about losing, but she worried about alerting the people from the Tarantula Chamber of Commerce. Zhang Yuochen said, "The Saint's Light pill, 5 class, values about 5 million silver coins each." Of course, that's not the key point. Although 5 million silver coins is a big sum of money, it still is not worth the daughter of the Yuntai suzerain's master risking her life to steal it from the black market. Hanku stared at Zhang Yuochen deeply and asked, "Go on. What's the key point?" Then, Zhang Yuochen continued, "The key point is that only 5 class alchemists can make the Saint's Light pills. There are only 3, 5 class alchemists in all of the 36 commanderies in the Omen Ridge. But none of them is proficient in making the Light Series pill inscriptions. That is to say, no one in the Omen Ridge can make a Saint's Light pill. If I guess correctly, you have the Dark Series Sacred Mark, and your genuine Chi also contains the Dark Nature. You are in urgent need of the Saint's Light pill. So I think maybe you are having trouble practicing, and you must use the Saint's Light pill to heal yourself. Am I right?